Welcome back to Nightly Nonsense. Make some sense out of the nonsense, right? We've been going through this whole signs of the end times, and are you paying attention? Are you looking at these things? Are you seeing them? I want to finish with pestilence and plague, right? We've seen this. We know about COVID, right? But I want to just mention a few other things, right? There were things in the last couple of years that should really grab your attention. Things like monkeypox, right? Things like the COVID virus. There have been things like leprosy that have made their reappearance, right? A biblical disease, all of a sudden reappearing. There have been lots of things like gnats. There have been locusts, right? There have been all kinds of pestilence, all kinds of sickness that's going out. People just dropping over of our cardiac arrests, right? Well, how did those things happen? People who are healthy, young kids, right? Athletes, all of a sudden just dropping over, right? There has been an increase in sickness throughout the last few years. Now, again, have there been plagues before? Have there been pestilence before? Has there been problems before? Yes. But you tell me the last time that you heard of leprosy in the United States. Now, somebody listening will know somebody who's had it, and they'll be like, oh, I have a relative, right? But the average person, when's the last time you feared leprosy in our country? Right? All of these things that are starting to happen that are affecting people. Right? When we add into the fact that COVID did a number on a lot of people, yep, they might have survived, but it weakened them. And now you've got things like smoke coming down from Canada and affecting 20 to plus, right, of our states. Like, how much of this can a body take before there starts to be repercussions? How much smoke can you inhale, right? How much stuff can you take, can your body take before there starts being a reaction to it, a weakness to it? We're seeing all of these kind of things being done on a regular basis. Now, again, does it matter where these things come from? Whether they come from a lab somewhere, whether they come from the sky out of the blue, whether they look natural, whatever. No, it doesn't really matter, right? It matters in one way, but the fact is they're here and they're happening. So are you paying attention to the intensity of these things? Are you looking around you? Are you seeing things that make you go, like this is affecting us? Are you seeing the droughts? Are you seeing the famines? Right? Are you seeing all kinds of things? When they tell you there's going to be a grain shortage and a meat shortage, when they tell you there's going to be a fruit shortage, when you've already experienced egg shortages and chicken shortages and beef and pork, right, and lamb shortages, when you've all kinds of shortages, when they're telling you that the fruit is not nearly as big, it hasn't had the rain, or some places too much rain, right? When they're talking about historic flooding, dams that are coming within a few inches of overflowing, right? When they're talking about all of this stuff put together, are you getting a sense that, hey, this is a little abnormal, there's things going on here? Maybe these are signs. Maybe God's trying to tell us something. Are they increasing in frequency? So what I want you to do for me tonight is I really want you to take a look at this whole thing. Are you seeing what other people are seeing? Or are you just saying, well, we've always had hot weather before. Oh, we've always had locust problem before. We're down here in Faulkner, New York, and we're talking about fly problems. The worst fly problems in years and years and years. Right? I need you to understand, in the Old Testament, there were 10 plagues, right, that got Egypt's attention. Some of those plagues, right, are starting to reappear. Right? You start talking about darkness. You start talking about flies. You start talking about locusts. You start talking about animals dying. You start talking about people dying. When you start talking about some of these things, we've seen these things before systematically. God systematically put these things out there. Right? So we look at this and say, again, these were warning signs to Pharaoh that he needed to do something. He needed to respond to God, and he refused, and his heart was hardened. Are you responding to God Are you responding, or is your heart hardening? I don't care about all this stuff. It doesn't affect me. I still have my air conditioning. I still have my freezer full. I still have a job. I can afford gas until it's $10 a gallon. Whatever. Are you looking at things? You said, I'm not going to respond. Let me wrap this up by saying this. The whole idea was that God wanted Pharaoh to let his people go. And the people were to go in to the wilderness, and they were to worship, right? God wants us to get it, and he wants it to lead to us worshiping him. But some of us are sitting around and we're psychoanalyzing all of this and arguing with each other about whether or not we've seen this before, right? Again, every time I mention wars and rumors of wars, people go, well, look at all the wars and rumors of wars that have been for all these years. There's always been that stuff. Whenever you mention pestilence and plague, and you get the Black Plague, and you get all of these things, like, look, forever there's been these things. It's not whether there's been forever these things, it's about the intensity of them. Are they ramping up? When malaria starts making itself way to our country, when we've talked about measles, we've talked about chicken pox and all kinds of things that are breaking through vaccinations, and we're having problems with these things. Right? Are we taking these as signs? Are we paying attention? So I want you to chew on that. Sorry, tomorrow night I want to start concluding with all of this and give you a little bit of practical advice on what to do with this. We'll see you next time. Nightly Nonsense.